This is a little review on my Epic the Musical inspired ceramic pieces. Right here we have the little lotus eater. As you can see, he did have a flower here, but unfortunately during the first burning it didn't really stick on, and I had to hollow him out a bit in the bottom to make sure that it didn't implode. This actually took a minimum amount of attachment, but I'm surprised the fruit and his little arms stayed on. The other thing that was difficult was making sure their little earpieces stayed on, and during the glazing I had to carefully dip him in. This actually took barely 40 minutes, I believe, to make all together because I had to make sure to hydrate the clay because this is red clay I was working with. Right here we have Polyphemus, not sure if I'm saying that correctly. This guy was pretty simple to do. The only thing that was a problem was making sure his middle stayed afloat, and I got a little lazy when making the sheep because it was a last minute addition. But I'm surprised altogether that the glazing sat well with him. A little bit of a problem was also doing a bit of the minimum glazing right here around his eye. And ironically, a lot of people in my family like how I did his design. And I was surprised on the minimum attachment right here on how it all stayed together. I think the only other problem I had was his ears almost fell off twice. And here we have the Winion. Same problem I had was making sure the ears stayed on, and when carving the face I made him look a little loopy. Then I had to be careful during the glazing right here because I wanted to use a minimum amount so you can tell the difference between all around the string, and the clouds got a little messy. His arms also got a little bit messy, but all in all it could have been worse. He's also shorter because I was starting to run out of clay. And here we have Circe. She was actually the first one I managed to get done because I started getting a little experimental, which is why her arms look a little different because I was still in the middle of constructing everything. And the problem with this one was I had a little bit of trouble constructing her hair differently because I wanted to make look graceful yet wild. And the dress took a while also, and the glazing kind of didn't really take place on the coloring I liked because the dress was supposed to look more purple-like. Right here it did break a little bit, but it could have been worse. I had to be extremely careful when I had to rehydrate all of this to make sure it didn't crack anymore because I was surprised the bottom stayed on as is. But all in all, our girl looks pretty good. Still wish the colors popped out more, but you know, live and learn. And here we have Tiresias. Sorry again for mispronouncing his name. The only thing that happened here was during the firing, his cape cracked a little here. But all in all, I'm happy with how it turned out, especially how it flowed over right here. The thing that I also wish I could have done better was his bandages around his eyes to symbolize, yes, he's our blind prophet. And I am surprised I managed to attach the arms well. But all in all, he turned out pretty adorable. And here we have Zeus. You can see I got lazy because I was starting to run out of ideas. And originally I wanted to try and do Scylla, but running out of clay and time took a toll on me, so I got lazy and just decided, oh, give him a thunderbolt, people will guess it's Zeus, and that's that. A thing that happened though was in between, I didn't measure up the clay enough, which is why he looks a little lopsided here. But you know, if I get around to it, maybe one day I'll do a Scylla. When yin mix up together. And here we have our girl Athena. I'll be honest, I'm surprised the helmet stuck on the way it did, because originally it was supposed to be all straight, but you know, it got lopsided a bit, and at least the rest of the helmet stayed in place. The thing I was disappointed of was the cape was actually supposed to be a light blue, but it didn't mix well. All in all, I'm pretty happy with how she turned out, though I will admit if I had to redo this one, I would probably add a little bit more detail. And here we have Hermes. Originally, he did have his little shoe wings, but unfortunately, as you can tell, they broke during the firing session and I didn't have enough time to do reattachments or find them. So I stuck with just keeping his little helmet on, and I'm surprised on how well his little helmet turned out. All in all, I'm pretty happy, but the clay once again kind of morphed on itself and made it look a little lopsided, but it could have gone a little worse. This is also one I would like to redo eventually, but it'll take a little bit of time. Fingers crossed then if I ever get a chance to redo it. And finally, our main wife, Penelope. I was a little disappointed at how the glazing turned out because I got a little lazy, but with the same problem as Cersei, thanks to this being red clay, the colors come out a little more blotchy than usual. She took a while because I wanted to do a little bit of a hair down routine, but unfortunately I didn't have enough time, so I just stuck with this one bun look. I would have added more hair here, but I was running out of patience. So I quickly moved, but like I said, all in all, I like how I designed her, but I would want to redo it again one of these days. And that is the final piece I have. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to tag our main man, Jorge. Have a nice day, everyone.